Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Sorry it's been a while since the last video, but unfortunately we're still waiting on a lot of parts. However, we've got one to install today, so let's get straight into it. So today we're going to be installing this S207 Replica wing. Huge shout out to Ricky from Automodelista for hooking me up with this piece. Now this wing is actually made for the VA chassis, so we may have plenty of work to do to actually make this fit the VB. But let's get to it. Now I'm going a little bit of a different route with this video and doing a little bit of voiceover with this time lapse. Here you can see me mocking. Here you can see me prepping up the rear boot. This is actually a swapped out boot from another VB, so shout out to Tony for swapping the boots. This allowed me to not have to fix up the old boot and gave him a new spoiler. So here I am just prepping up the boot, ready for a mock-up, and I'll show you the final result. After putting all the paper down, I've gone through and checked a lot of measurements against the car and against the wing. We've got all these lines set up on the boot ready to go. So we've got center line here, and then we've actually got two lines on the outside, and that's because I screwed up a measurement. And this is where you measure twice, cut once. So this is my template. Everything's here to protect the boot at the moment. And then I'm gonna fiddle around with the placement of the wing, see what I like the best, and we'll start drilling from there. I've got the wing mocked up now. As you can see, it looks pretty good. I think the biggest issue I'm having at the moment is just what position I want to go with, whether I want it right back like it currently is or slightly further forwards. But if we come and look at the legs, I've done a lot of double checking and it looks very close to being on the line. So I'm happy with all my measurements. You can see there, that's fairly centered. Come across, that's also looking fairly centered. So as far as I'm concerned, we've got the right measurements for the width. Now I just need to make the call on how far forward the wing needs to sit, and I'll go from there. So this is the part where I'm getting really nervous. We've gone through how to play around with where the wings are going to go, and now we've finally come back. We've got one mark here, and one mark up here, another mark over the front here, and another mark just at the back here. I've checked the inside of the boot just to see potentially where they come out, and this is going to be definitely an interesting one. Again, this is made for VA and not a VB, so there may be further complications I run into down the line, but for right now, I think I'm going to try and do the pilot drilling, and wish me luck. And we've successfully gone through on both holes. That is always an excellent sign. I'll get the other two squared away, and then we'll remove all this covering and we'll have a look where we're at. Taken all the paper off, and we've just come quickly back in, put a bit of tape around each of the holes and mark the holes. Now we've already come across our first issue here. I'll just pop the boot. I've gone ahead and taken out the main bit, but you can't quite see it up in there, but one of the holes is just up in there. The other one comes out somewhere down here. So we're going to have issues trying to get the backing plate on here, and I've got to figure a way out to do that. Glad I didn't go any more forward with the wing, otherwise we would have been in real big trouble. I think it might actually be about here rather than here. But we'll find out. And sink the screw bit a bit further, drill out a bigger hole, and see where we land up. So the first wing I installed, we progressively went up in drill bit size until we got to the size we needed. This time, we're using a step up bit, which will make life a little bit easier. As you can see, I've already got some tape on there. We're only going to about 6.5 mil. So let's get to it. The holes are drilled and prepped, all nicely cleaned up. I am now going to go ahead and test fit the wing. Just make sure we've got everything squared away, but I am actually really happy with how these turned out. Go prep up the wing a bit more and test fit it. To prep up the wing before install, we've gone ahead and inserted these mounting threads as well as the weather shielding. This is just a foam backing plate and should help us. Now, fingers crossed, we get this installed. Hole 1, hole 2. So the front holes are going in. Looks like the back holes are just slightly out. But this could be... I might just have to widen those back holes out a little bit. The width is all good. They're just slightly out with where the back holes were. Sorry, my center to center distance was slightly out on the measurement, but not much. Honestly, if the boot is slightly more flexible. Yeah. So that difference that I'm looking at here is all of half a drill bit. So I'm just going to elongate those holes slightly and do a retest fit. I don't know if we can get focus here, but the issue we're facing at the moment, it's focusing on the wing, is we're about half a hole off with this back one on both sides. And the issue I'm actually finding is that hole doesn't come out at a pure 90 degree from the leg. So the issue we're facing is it comes out at a slight angle, which means my center to center distance was slightly off when I was measuring the holes. So I'll just keep elongating those holes and we'll see what we get. We are finally sitting on the boot at least. Took a little bit longer to elongate the holes and test fit each time, but for the moment it is sitting on there. It's looking quite pretty as well, if I do say so myself. Next step will be to open the boot up and check all the secure points, and then I'll figure out exactly how we're securing this thing down. It does come with a few plates and bolts, but we may have to go a bit off book and custom make some stuff for this one. But for now, I'm going to call it a day, as it's sun's, well, I'll drop the ISO there, but the sun is slowly going. The sun is slowly gone, so I don't have much light left to work with. But for the moment, the wing is temporarily on, and I'll finish it up tomorrow. It's the next day, so we're going to continue on working on the GT wing, or the S207 Replica. First up, we're going to get it off the car so we can thread lock all the bolts. Up until this point, I've only got the bolts and everything on here. They're hand tight, but they're not locked in or anything. So we're just going to start going through one by one, applying a bit of thread locker. And making sure everything's going to be locked in nice and tight so we don't have any issues with the wing in the future. Now we also have the threads that go into the feet, so I'll do the exact same thing. Just a little bit of thread locker. And with this side all done, I'll move on to the other side, and I'll also do the wing end plates. There's a couple of screws in those, but for now we'll get this all squared away, and then we'll start looking at the interior of the boot. So the hardest part of the install is actually coming up now. Because this wing was built for a VA, the underside of their boot is going to look vastly different to what we have on the VBs. Now looking through, if I get up here, you can see just inside there, we've got that little hole of light coming through, which is the front one. And if I spin around here, you may just be able to see it. Yep. And there is the rear. The rear is not going to be so bad to access to get the final screws in, but I'm definitely going to have to do some cutting away to figure out how I'm even getting a bolt in there to secure the thing down. Additionally, we have all this additional bracketry that was supplied with the wing, which is supposed to suit a VA. However, I'm going to try and repurpose it and see what we can manage for the VB. I've just had a quick look online to see if anyone else had for any of the VA installations to see how this works. And the one I've found does have to come through this plate here as well. So we'll flip it back up, drill through, and we may even do the same up here. The top hardware may actually work for this one, and I've just come through and noticed that there's these little dimples in the boot. So that may actually correspond to underside hardware, and we'll see what we can find, because the S210 variant does have a similar style wing on it, and that's got to mount up something similar, so we'll see how we go. I've been at it for a little while now. As you can see, we've got a nice clean hole straight through there. I still have to widen this one out a little bit more to be able to even get my ratchet bit onto it. And I've just started up the top here going through this section. We've got the same on the other side. I'm still deciding on the exact securement method, whether I'm going to use the included hardware or not. There are these black blanking plates as well, which I may use on the rear section and then just a bolt on the front, but we'll see how that goes. If I have any issues in the future, we'll need to probably revisit all of this. It's been probably another 5-10 minutes. I do apologize for not filming a lot of this, but it is just drilling, checking and rechecking. But we've got our widened hole here, widened hole there. We've got the 4 widened holes. I get my socket set, and the socket goes into each of those, so we can secure everything down now. The question is how much securement I am doing, and we'll get onto it. The problem we're encountering is, despite looking square on at it, it looks alright. When you actually try and get a bit in there, we're actually slightly low, which means the bit isn't going in square, and we're not able to get thread onto the screw, and we're going to cross thread everything. I am just going to widen this hole up and see what we can manage. Yeah, it's another while later, so for another quick update. First off, we've opened this section up, and that is to start using the supplied hardware. So I've roughly mapped this out, and we should be able to go with that. That'll give added strength to the front of the wing instead of just the single bolt that I had earlier. We've also widened up this hole, so we should be able to get the bolt in there, and that'll use the plate. I've just started on this side, so come along. I've marked it out using the Dremel, and we'll just continue on. That complete, we'll go ahead and do a quick test fit. So it does get in there, does kind of line up, but we're still catching a little bit here, and I probably just need to take out this little corner up here, as well as let's just try and see if I can pull that corner out. So we'll go ahead, swap back to the cutting disc, throw the earplugs back in, and go again. And there we have it. So we'll have these brackets either side. I'm still confirming how I'm actually going to get that bolt on, but for the moment we've got a steady start, and we should be able to get this wing on very shortly. After much contemplation, this is the solution I came up with. We just cut a slot from the bolt hole to where we slide in the piece. This will allow us to just slot the thing in. I've actually already got one ready over here, and as you can see, it's actually lining up perfectly. I can slot my hand in behind here just to hold the nut tight while I do that bolt up, and that'll line up, and that lines up perfectly with the front part of the wing. We should actually be pretty good going forwards. We're in the home stretch now. Okay, if all goes well very shortly, this should be the final update from the underside, apart from putting the bolts in. We've got those anchors there. We're nearly ready to go up top. I'm going to try and throw the wing on and see where we land. We are in. We've got the bracket in. Bolts through. The bolt is through. Brackets in. Bolts through. Bolts through. I am going to get the plates on these two back ones, and we'll go from there. Well, we're, I want to say 90% done. We've got this side all bolted up and all squared away. We've got one bolt here, and, well, guess where that one is? Somewhere in this rail. I've been chasing that around for the better part of the last half hour to no avail. So I've tightened everything up and calling it for the moment. It's three points of contact. That should do us for the moment, and see how we go. We'll button it back up from the inside, call it for now, but the wing still isn't fully done, as we're still missing the end plates. So stay tuned for those. Well, it's been about a month since I started filming this video, unfortunately. If you've been keeping up with me on social media, you'll know that's mostly because of work, but we're also waiting on a few more parts for the wing. But as of today, the wing is complete, and I'll take you through it. Final piece of the puzzle that we were waiting on were the end plates. Before applying the end plates, we gave them a quick once over, clean them up as they just come out of panel and paint. Before attaching them to the wing, just gave them a quick once over with adhesion promoter. This will allow the provided tape to stick a lot better to the newly painted surface. To get the best results, I've applied the tape all around the edges as well as a strip through the middle here. This will hopefully stop any issues where the end plate wants to fly off the car at higher speeds. And as the final touch, there are these STI vinyl overlays from Wrap Mode over East. These are amazing overlays, high quality, and absolutely love the final look. To install the end plates, just going around and wiping down with adhesion promoter on all the surfaces I want to apply tape to as well. And just applying that end plate, undoing the tape, and pressing it on there nice and firmly. And we should have no issues. Well, that is the wing install finally done. I know it's been a long one for myself, and everyone has been waiting on this one as a unique wing. It does look absolutely brilliant on the car, and I'm really happy with the final result. You'll also notice in some of these final shots that I've also got the new rear three-piece bumper kit on. This has come from D-Maker Australia and is a slight variation on the Aeroflow Dynamics ones, as it's got additional straking on the side of it. So not identical, but very similar fit and finish. And I'm really happy with the final results on that too. I did post a shot of that to my Instagram, so Instagram saw it first. So make sure you're following my social media to be able to see some of these things before YouTube does. On that note, social media already knows this, but this will be the final video with the works wheels on. I've got a new set of Aeroflow Dynamic GT2s to go on the car. So stay tuned and check out the next video to see them on the car. And with that, I'll see you guys in the next video.